Yo, what's poppin'? Doing a quick review of the first day of the top 8 of Korean contenders. I'm not gonna do the other NA and EU region right now, but I'm gonna make it a point to do the Korean ones. I'll get some of those ones as the tournament goes on. But for today, just the Korean ones. So first up was O2 Blast against Uprising Academy. Ends up being a 3-1 for O2. Lee Jong's a 2-0. O2 playing Viper. He's saying Max, Bliss, and Babel, or Babel. Uprising Academy playing Frida, Kaneki, X-Ray, Kyo, and Xerneas. So Night Market is at 127 for O2. They're playing Genji, Sojourn, Junker Queen, Lucio, Brig, and that's what O2 is, and that's what Up is playing, and that's what everyone's playing unless they did otherwise. I'm not going to read the set every time because this is the comp 90% of the time on this specific patch, which is not the patch that Owl will be playing on. They'll be on a different patch where Junker Queen is nerfed and Sojourn is nerfed, and the Moira changes are in. I don't think Enfeebling Orb's in this one either. So it's not going to be the exact meta, but this is a good comp for that probably as well. Anyway, X-Ray is dying to Viper early, like pretty much every fight. Pretty big tank difference here, and Viper is doing a lot. Um, Up's engagements are really sloppy. It feels like O2 are able to just back up a bit and then go in with their shout. Usually shouting second. And whenever you use that cooldown second, it's just so much better because their HP goes away first. It's just better. And O2 are not even needing to use a lot of ults to win, so they just have their ults. They can just win. But yeah. Max, or not Max, X-Ray only built 86% of his ult the entire round. He did not build an ult in 127%. Control Center is even worse. 100 to 14 for O2, that 14 coming in at the very end. And Up continues to have the worst shout engagement, and that's a huge difference. He's saying is getting opening picks on Xerneas at least twice in the 100%, and that's only like 4 fights, so at least 2 out of 4 fights he's saying sending the pick. Up almost ended up winning a fight with Rampage, but Viper was killing too, and it just didn't happen. So just a difference. I guess another thing I should mention about these reviews, I'm going to try and make them pretty quick. I don't want to make them last too long, so I'm going to aim for a little under 10 minutes per review per maps, depending on the maps and all that. So yeah. Anyway, King's Row is a 2-1 for Up. Jimmy comes in for Reprita, and Jimmy, I was impressed by Jimmy. So Uprising, or Up Academy, not Uprising, it's Ultra Prime. Have I been saying Uprising? I hope not. So O2 on the Junker Con Uprising. Oh, I did it again. Up on the defense, or on the offense, also on the Junker Con. And it was looking like O2 all day. And then I don't know what happened because the stream died, and then they were holding on the end of B, and then they just won. Viper was putting in a lot of work, and the O2 DPS are so good. Before the stream went away, I thought for sure that they were just going to get full held, but somehow Up ended up making it. Going on to the O2 offense, both teams are going still, and O2 just kind of rolled through A because Viper is doing the Lord's work on the back line. And they get through Arch with Viper again. He blades and kills 4, and he Ajaxes Kyo. But then O2 gets stuck around that final corner, right where they capped it, and that was it. They never got past it. Babel was dying early, but O2 was committing ults to lost fights. Up was setting the tempo with their ultimates, and instead of just taking the ults and resetting O2, they kept on trying to win the fights. They kept on saying, yeah, we can, this is winnable, and they kept ulting, and they kept ulting. And so Up kept using ults to win, but they kept trading out for ults, so they kept on top, really. And O2 would just had to say, okay, they had so much time going in. They had 4:55 going into B, right? They just had to take an ult. They just had to take a fight without using ults, but they never did. And so they lost. They literally lost because of that. I don't know why the camera keeps doing it. It's because my hat's so far down or something. I don't know. But yeah. Dorado, 2-1 for O2. O2 actually played the Pharah instead of the Sojourn. So, and it was really good. They just kind of rolled with it. They rolled through A. They rolled through B. Well, they rolled through the start of B because the Pharah got traded out for Jimmy, who swapped on over to the Ashe. And then once they swapped over, and once Jimmy was on the Ashe, Up just kind of held. O2 looked like they'd be able to win, but then Jimmy just comes out. He hits a bunch of headshots. He hits a bunch of kills, and they never get past it. Up is just keeps on running off the high ground on the O2, and Jimmy's immediate pressure on the Ashe. It's another moment where you play Ashe over the Sojourn, and the immediate pressure is so good. It's very interesting to me that APAC prefers the Ashe to the Sojourn in Owl, but in Contenders, we just see Sojourn all the time. Even though Sojourn hasn't, like, there's no change, right, between Sojourn and Ash on this specific patch. Sojourn is going to get nerfed. But as this patch is right now, they're the same, and it's just really weird to me. I don't know what makes Sojourn better into the Junker Queen. It's probably the slide, maybe, I would suspect. The slide is better than the Coach Gun, but I think Ash was a phenomenal pick for Jimmy right here, and it worked out very well. Now on Up's offense, they started on Widow instead of the Sojourn, and it works out pretty well. They kind of roll through A, and they're roll through the start of B, similar to O2 did, with O2's DPS getting kind of caught out. I don't know if they're trying to do too much or if they're mispositioned or whatever, but they're dying. And O2 was able to win fights despite using up to 3 ults less. I don't know what happened with Up. They're just using their ults kind of inefficiently. Viper is back to being that guy and going crazy on them. And there was even a moment where he deflected Jimmy's overclock back at his face. So I couldn't tell you exactly what happened. I don't know if I'm just gonna take the hat off. I guess I don't know what the hell's going on with that camera. I see a flash on me, and now I look way less orange. But yeah, just like a really like kind of a major mess up from Up. They couldn't deal with Viper in the end. They used their ults poorly. They didn't bring their momentum. They just lose. Going over to Coliseum, it was a 104-55 for O2, not Up. And this was kind of a wash. Bliss keeps beating down 2 again. I don't think I mentioned it in the end up here, but that was happening quite a bit often for O2, especially on the King's Row. O2 thinks that fights are more winnable than they really are. Wait. Oh, that is for... Hold on. That was for Up. Ignore me. Ignore me. I forgot. Up won this one. I did this like a while ago, and then I went to class and I came back, so I didn't remember. But I remember now. Bliss keeps beating down 2 again. It is similar to KR. And it looks like O2 thinks fights are more winnable than they really are. Jimmy diffing he's saying on this map pretty damn hard. He had multiple 3+K fights. Jimmy is immaculate. I'm like, bro, Jimmy's the truth, maybe. Watch out. Jimmy might be the truth right now. But yeah, Viper is doing what he can to get wins out, but all of the wins, or the fight wins, are more or less coming from him, either going crazy with the Nano, going crazy with Raw, going crazy with Blade. It doesn't matter. It's off of Viper, and they're still mitigating him more than they were earlier. So great job from Up here. Looked very good. And they bring us to a map 5, and it is Busan. It's an O2 for O2. It's an O2. It's a 2-0 for O2. Aprita comes back in for Jimmy, and I'm not sure why, because I think Jimmy was outperforming him, and I still think he was after this, because he's doing okay. Like, he gets an opening pick on he's saying to start, and Up kind of run at them, and they win, but that's all they get, because he's saying kills 2, O2 gets a cap, Aprita gets staggered, Viper is just going crazy with the blades, Aprita gets a pick on Viper, but then the rally is good from O2, and Viper gets back and kills 2, and then O2 win out 100-38. So Aprita not getting the same value as Jimmy. Yes, he's getting picks, but Jimmy was doing a lot more than that. Jimmy was really quite talented there. Downtown is 100-16 for O2. Viper, he's saying, are just winning. Kaneki's getting caught out quite often. And I don't know. Really know what to say. Up are able to rotate up from lower because O2 missed the rotate at one point, and Aprita gets some kills. Uprising get up. Ultra Academy, not Uprising. Ultra Academy get the flip for a little bit, but then O2 get the trade the kills. He's saying gets kills, Viper gets kills, and that's it. So, Thompson player of the match is gonna go over to Viper. I think he looks insane on the Genji. Phenomenal work from him. Just really good. I don't know. I haven't seen this guy play before. I haven't even heard of him, but he looked damn good. Overview, O2 looks way better at the start. Right? Their engagements were better with the shot. That was the main thing. Their engagements were much better. They were able to disengage when they wanted to. They were able to engage when they wanted to. Viper was pressuring the backline so hard. Specifically, Xerneas had a very rough time dealing with him, which created openings to push in on. And O2 just they did have a consistent issue on both Kings Row and on Coliseum. where they would try and turn the fights that were already lost. Just don't commit that hard. You don't have to commit to every fight. It's like they wanted to win every single fight. You don't have to do that. Just chill out and take some eco fights if you have to, and accept defeat whenever the fight looks really unwinnable. Because I think in this composition, it's very hard to come back from down one because every single member of this team contributes so much. If you lose your Junker Queen, you're done. If you lose your Lucio, you don't have speed, so you can't disengage. You can't engage as well. The Brigidas are a ton of healing and also just good damage in the brawl. The Sojourn is incredible pick potential, and the Genji is what's pressuring the backline the most. I'd say the most expendable member is your Sojourn, but even then, Sojourn has the ability to change fights, right? So, I don't know. On the other side, Up were absolutely flat to start the series, and they were able to wake up a little bit, and they set the tempo better after Lijiang. And Dorado, they look quite good as well. They didn't look like they were winning as much, but they weren't losing, if that makes sense. And Colosseum was a sick map for them, though. Like, just phenomenal. Jimmy was playing very well. Wholly different, he's saying, for the most part. And Up as a team were just able to shut down Viper on that specific map. But after that, not really. And from what I saw on this match, Jimmy and Aprita both going to charge. I like Jimmy more on the Sojourn right now. So I don't know if Aprita's going to be that guy moving forward, but Jimmy maybe is. Now going over to Panthera versus WGS Phoenix. It's a 3-0 for Panthera. The Panthera playing Hidden, Spectra, Protect, Vulture, and Lego. WGS playing Haranbong. I don't know. Haranbong, sure. And Rambong. Dukes, Adeline, Goliath, and Hyde. I was going to call it Hide, but that's Hyde. And Mecha base is 168 for Panthera. They're playing Sojourn, Genji, Junker Queen, Brig, Lucio, Surprise. And that's what they're playing a lot of the time. There are some moments where WGS switch off, so that'll be interesting later. But for right now, WGS ended up taking the first cap because Hanrabong, I'm going to go with Hanrabong right now. Final answer. And Dukes are getting theirs, but Spectra ends up killing 4 immediately right back. WGS do end up capping back eventually, but it literally cost them all their ults, and then Panthera just didn't overcommit all theirs, and they won. But Spectra was very good, and Hanrabong looked pretty damn solid. But Spectra's very good. He's also underage right now, which is probably why he's not an owl, I suspect, because next year, watch out for this guy. I suspect he's going to be very good. Downtown's 100-6 for Panthera. And it's just even worse. Dukes is really struggling on the Genji here. He's trying to take like off angles from going where the team are, but he's just getting looked at and dying. And then Spectra's coming back and he's cleaning up. It is really bad. This was a very bad map for WGS and a very good map for Spectra. Midtown, 3-2 for Panthera. They are now playing. Panthera's playing Sojourn, Echo, Sigma on a Zen, with WGS playing it Sojourn, Genji, Winston, Brigana. They were on the Jungle Queen to start, but they saw the Sigma and they said, okay, we'll play Winston. But on A, Panthera was able to find kills. We're not able to find kills while poking out WGS. So they were able to get that nano boost and put in Adeline onto the back line, got them a lot of space and got them through A. Sends them to B with like 435. On B, WGS got very greedy though, and they got punished for it quite hard. First, they committed to a fight, even though Dukes falls early and Nanoblade is up, and instead of just waiting the fight, they going back in with Nanoblade, they just nano Adeline in. He gets slept and dies. It's just not great. And then the next time, Henrabon gets a pick, and they go super deep with it, but they go far too deep, and they all die very fast, and they just lose. So maybe be a little more careful. Go in with the pick, but it was a little too ambitious. On C, which they got to eventually, Protect swapped over to the Diva, and it did not look great. They were forced to give a lot of space, first to a Primal, and then Adeline backed up, then he went back in with a Nano Boost. But they weren't able to finish the map because Adeline went a little too aggro into the spawn. He ends up dying to Hidden, and Spectra cleans up on the Tracer. But a pretty solid offense. You get all the way to the end of C. But on the offense for Panthera, it was rough. And by rough, I mean they just rolled. They're both playing the Junker Queen again. And Panthera just rolling. There was like 3 to 4 fights in a row. Or no, there were 2 fights in a row where WGS didn't get a single kill. They just died flawlessly dead. no trades, and that happened another 1 to 2 times. Spectra is just the best player in the lobby. I'm going to talk about him often because he is doing so much. He had an ace with a blade. WGS were pushing. There was a time where they got stabilized on B, and then they pushed all the way into the spawn, and then Spectre just killed them all. Like, they had kills. It was looking good. It was like a solid push. And Spectre just decided to kill them. So, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Circuit Royale, so 3-2 for Panthera. Kane comes in for Adeline. And this is the map where we don't get the Junker Queen because it's Circuit Royale. Nothing changes because Circuit Royale is forever going to be the Sigma map. So, WGS on their offense play Widow, Genji, Sigma, Zen, Ana. Panthera play the Sojourn instead of the Genji and the BAP instead of the Ana. I do like the double sniper with the BAP a little bit more. But WGS get through A pretty easily. Hidden gets a good jump shot on the Hanra. WGS just kind of poked them out. Then Hanra gets a kill on Hidden, and WGS end up winning, right? Spectra goes over to the Genji now, being a bit of a Genji player. And WGS end up, they play a really good play. They push up to the choke where Panthera have to walk into B. And they force Panthera to either ult out or die, and they give just enough for them to walk up a little bit, but then they ulted them. Protect got slipped out of Flux even, and WGS were able to push into C with 5:05, so a very commanding time bank, right? Then WGS continue the momentum. They push into pool fast, and they use Duke's Nanoblade, and Lego hits a Transcendence and saves it, and Panthera ends up holding. So that aggression maybe hurts them, but I think it was a good play overall. Then Hanran Bong gets a kill Spectra, and he had Blade up, so that was very important. Kane ends up killing Hidden somehow, and WGS take the high ground control and they push forward, and it's looking very good. Then Hidden comes out of spawn, kills Hyde, Vulture ends up killing Dukes, and Panthera holds solid. But yeah, WGS kind of hella slowed down on the C push. Right? C, it is a very difficult point to take. I thought they did everything right that they could. Panthera end up winning. I need a haircut. God damn, this hair is not supposed to be there. Whatever. Panthera. Their offense. Same stuff, only WGS was playing Widow Hanzo on the defense, but the Babzen now ditching the Ana and the Genji. But Panthera stay on the Widow Sojourn Babzen. Snipers end up getting trades, but Hammerbong is so good on the Widowmaker. Very impressed, and he kills multiple to stop Panthera from capping A. Hidden ends up finding a kill on Hammerbong mid grapple. He was playing very aggressively on the stairs, and he wasn't taking a duel or anything. He literally was grappling to get away, and he gets picked. Very good shot. And that kind of steamrolls into Panthera capping A and have 345 entering B, which is not really close to what WGS had. They had 455. Hammerbong slows down the Panthera snowball, right? And WGS end up holding at the top of the hill. Spectra is able to find Kane. Here, wait, I'm actually going to walk up a little bit so that people remember, so you can see the names if you're looking. Because sometimes I forget who's on what team as well. But Spectra is able to find Kane. He dies because no Sigma. It's not looking good for WGS. So then Panthera push up to the choke. WGS window out, and they end up stabilizing, but Spectra hits a blade, pressures the back line. Kane dies again, and they have 240 entering C. At this point, Hidden swaps to Sojourn off of the Widow. Panthera is able to take pool with only Spectra dying. However, Dukes hits a blade and stabilizes them. Vulture swaps over to the Ana in the very last fight. And then WGS make a questionable play, I think. They want to take the aggression, they want to be aggressive, and they push in the Panthera on the coast, going to pool, that staircase kind of, and they push into Panthera with Trank. But Panthera have more ults, they have their own Trank available, and so what's the goal here? You're not winning that. You're not going to be able to kill the Trank. Spectre is able to get more kills because you just used your Transcendence, and he has Blade. And Panthera end up winning the map and thus the match. I think that was a very very interesting play. I understand the vision, push fast because we're at an alt disadvantage, try and get the jump, but I think they would have been better off trying to play for picks and pick them off as they walk or something. It just did not work. But anyway, Tom to play the match got to be Spectra. He's absolute star player. I don't know, one man show on the Genji most of the time. He was just really strong. Even on the Circuit Royale, he came up big. So yeah, but yeah, overview, Panthera definitely the better team than Drunken Queen Mirror, mostly off of WGS being unable to stop Spectra from just killing everyone. On Midtown in the Sigma versus Winston comps, WGS did look a bit better, I think, but I felt like they got a little too over ambitious, a little too greedy, multiple times on the offense and the defense even. Well, the defense around Drunken Queen, but same thing. That's kind of the problem with this team overall. They're a little too aggressive, but I do like them. I think they're decent at least. Um, but we're punishing for it very often. I feel like WGS also were better on the Sigma, to be honest with you. Hammer Bong Widow was way better than Hidden, though. So that is a benefit, I think. Because Hidden feels kind of underwhelming to me compared to the other four hit scans I've seen today, or the other three rather. So I don't know. But Spectre was unable to do as much off the Genji also, or even on the Genji on Circuit Royale. But he was still able to get there. You know, he was still probably the best player on Panthera, I would say. Um, but yeah, just the over aggression mostly. Also, they took the fight outside of Hanron Bong's LOS, and he's kind of the player that was carrying them the most. So, not sure. Uh, but yeah, so then the format of this is the two winning teams play each other right away. So O2 Blast end up playing not Up Academy. This is Panthera. And it was a 3-0 for O2 Blast. Just a 3-0 straight up. I don't know. Okay, so the team's playing the same players, but I will say it again. O2 playing Viper, Heesang, Max, Bliss, and Babel. Panthera playing Hidden, Spectra, Protect, Vulture, and Lego. Gardens was 100 over Panthera. Both teams on the Junker Queen comp, and Panthera were just rolling. They were winning all of their duels, and it even looked like even though Max was getting more Ultra and Protect, it was just like Spectra and Hidden. They just kind of diffed, and I don't know if that was because they just played or whatever, but it was fantastic tempo. They were just doing everything right. I don't know. It just looked really strong. University, however, was 100 to 99 for O2. They were started strong once again. Hidden was getting the better of Heesang, and Viper was performing, though. Viper was performing, I must say. But the teams went basically 100% each. I believe it was Panthera had 64, and O2 had 46 or something. And, like, no team had an ult used until 100% total. So that just tells you how fast these fights are decided. They're just like if someone instantly dies and the team just falls over. Like it doesn't matter who it is really. Oftentimes I feel like it is the Brig. The Brig is very much exposed here. Your Brig player has to be very good, I feel like, in this composition. But yeah, very back and forth neutral fights. Heesang ends up waking up towards the end of the round, starts diffing Hidden. In the very final fight, 99-99, Panthera gets the flip and they push very deep with the Rampage. However, O2 ends up living through it with the B, and now they're able to get onto the Panthera supports, especially because Max came back on the Doomfist as he did die early. That's what caused Panthera to get the flip. And now that the front line is so committed to the back line, with Protect being all the way back there because of the Rampage, it results in O2 being able to kill the back line and win out. So one of the rare circumstances where the team that gets the first pick loses the fight. And City Center goes to 100-0 for O2. So it was weird. It went from 100-0 Panthera, 100 to 99-02, 100-0 02. And like Heesang is now fully alive. Huge picks to open the round. Viper hits a blade to win the next fight flawlessly. And O2 just snowball their ultimates to hold and win. I don't even know if Panthera had just a DPS diff. So one from DPS diff Panthera, DPS equality, I would say, and then a DPS diff for O2. Kings Rose a 3-1 for O2. Both teams still in the Junker Queen comps. Viper turns up on A after a few fights. They have after a fight, I think more like, and 440 into B. Spectre, however, is able to stabilize the team on Arch. But O2 have a lot of ults saved up, and they've learned from their previous error in the last game. They let Panthera push at them with their ults. They don't use them. They lose 2 fights in a row. Oh no. They pull up again with their ults and they win. And WGS again. No, not WGS. This is Panthera. My apologies. I hope it's Panthera. Again, they play aggro and use 2 ults. So O2 able to come back in the next fight with a Rampage and a Blade, and Heesang kills using an Overclock and kills 5. Oh wait, that's the next fight, I think. Yeah, it's like this part. These two. So that's how they get through the archway. Then to the end of the fight, Heesang gets an Overclock and kills 5, and they have 340 entering C. And Heesang just keeps it rolling, and O2 was just rolling through. O2 is react. Okay, there's a very good play here. Panthera end up stabilizing a bit at the end of, or in the corner of C. Panthera hit a rally engage. However, O2 is able to disengage and go in with their own rally, and have 144 to finish the map. So it felt like Panthera kind of panicked a little bit. They had just lost 3 fights in a row. O2 was just kind of rolling, and they were like, okay, guys, we have to win this. Let's go. Let's rally early. They rallied early, but it was way too early. Like it was just like way too early. O2 able to get the better rally off, able to disengage it, and just kind of roll off it. So they were kind of playing a little too scared almost right there. Anyway, Panthera on their offense, they play Widow, Genji, Sigma on a Zen into the Junker Queen comp. So it's Sigma. It's a little curious. So hidden on the Widow actually is able to get big damage off, and it applies a lot of pressure, which forces O2 back, but it kind of splits them because their team is still playing it around the statue. Panthera just kind of pull up, they end up killing both DPS because of it, and they get point control. However, O2 end up regrouping, they give some takes, and then they run on to protect on the Junker Queen. And Sigma just rolls over, they just bulldoze through him. Hidden goes over to the Sojourn now, and Max is just doing so much, multiple fights in a row. He kills 4 on the Recontest, he kills 3 on the next one, and they're just running into the Sigma. They're just smashing their face into it. And what is the Sigma supposed to do? You have to hit a sick rock to get through. And then Panthera mess up their Nano Blade. They Nano Lego instead of Nanoing Spectra. But Max only gets a Rampage onto Vulture, and they commit the Blade to it. Viper hits him. He kills Vulture, but he doesn't get anything else. And Spectra in the other side backline, in the O2 backline, is able to get his kills. And then Panthera have 305 entering B. Heesang swaps over to the Tracer then. And then Panthera swaps over to the Junker Queen comp. However, O2 just holds on the book corner. They just kind of roll. They get alt rotated because Panthera kind of reset all their ultimates. Not all the DPS ults, or not the Widow ult. Actually, the DPS didn't change. But they reset their tank ult, they reset their support ults. And it's kind of easy for O2 to just kind of alt cycle and win out. So they end up winning King's Row 3-1. Next up, Gibraltar. It's a 4-3 for O2. Ripen or Arpen, I don't know if that's which one that's supposed to be. They were calling him Arpen in the broadcast, so I guess I'll say that. For Protect. So O2 on the offense, they're playing the Junker Queen comp, but with the Tracer instead of a Sojourn. And Panthera are playing Sojourn, Tracer, Winston on a break. So, you know, that's what we would expect to see on the Gibraltar. So yeah. O2 TP across to the bridge on the Junker Queen and just run out onto the platform. Spectre ends up dying, and Panthera gets trades, but he's going crazy on him. And then the Junker Queen's on the point, and they're trying to touch in the OT. Doesn't work out because Junker Queen is just meant for brawling on the point, and you're a Winston comp, you just lose. O2 is able to get really good staggers as two members get bad spawn on Panthera. But they're held at the back end of B. Spectra able to turn the tide at the end there and hold on solid. So then our pen swaps over to the ball. Vulture swaps over to the Zenyatta. Panthera are just holding like kind of far back on B. They prevent O2 from getting shuttle control, but I feel like they don't really have it themselves. They're relying on the Wrecking Ball kind of to have it, and the Zenyatta is way in the back. So is the Sojourn, right? But yeah, they're just diving onto the back line as soon as they can. They're getting picks hidden, getting good picks. And yeah, so there's that. But somehow O2 end up killing 2 people through Panthera support ults, both of them. And then they use Blade with Blade and Pulse Bomb. And they end up winning. They have 2 minutes into B. And then they just kind of roll. Spectra gets diffed by Viper. Panthera doesn't really dive anything without him up, so they just give a ton of space. And then they can't give any more space. Viper forces people back into spawn. Max on the Junker Queen is just running at people. And they end up capping with 37 seconds, so an extremely fast C, which kind of makes sense because of Junker Queen, but at the same time, Wrecking Ball is quite good on C2, so I don't know. Kind of a misplay by Panthera there. Now, Panthera on the offense, they play a Sojourn, Tracer, Balls, and Brig. O2 go back to the Sojourn comp, and there's no kills after 1 minute and 30, but then there's a really weird play happens where Bliss goes into the back line, and it looks like Spectra's gonna be like he gets cornered by Spectra, and He's Saying shows up, like it just on top of the bridge outside, and Spectra leaves him alone. But then Hidden moves in to help Spectra kill, but Spectra just dips, and Bliss actually just kills Hidden, and then he does die to Spectra Pulse Bomb, but just a really weird miscommunication. Doesn't make any sense. However, it is actually enough because O2 gets stuck in server room, they end up dying. And so Panthera get 410 entering B. So it's a really weird, odd situation, but it works out. Panthera then takes shuttle control, and O2 look to contest it, but Bliss is again in the backline, not with the team, and I don't know. Max gets his rampage canceled by Hidden, who slides in with an overclock and just dinks him in the head. And the whole time, Panthera's moving cart, and they have 420 entering C. He's Saying swaps over to the Tracer off of the Sojourn. But on C, it's quite bad for them for a while. O2 is playing very well with the high grounds. Viper gets his blade shut down, but he ends up forcing Trank. So then Max is able to kill both supports and O2 stabilize at that hill corner. And then O2 very good at recognizing when they should dive. They see Arpen going to stage a dive somewhere, and they just go in. They don't think, they just go in. And the Viper kills both supports, and O2 is just really strong, using the high ground to jump onto the backline, even though you're on not a slow comp, because you have two sources of speed boost in Junker Queen and Lucio, but you're not as fast as a Wrecking Ball dive kind of thing, you know? But eventually Panthera end up walking up a bit because I believe Viper dies. Then Hidden and Vulture. Oh no, it's because Hidden and Vulture each get a support. Is what happens, right? They're able to walk in a little bit. The dive doesn't work. It's hard to get to the back line to the street. And Panthera fully capped with 30 seconds, so only 7 seconds less than O2. Panthera on their offense, they have 1 minute to do it, and they go Sojourn Tracer balls in, Brig into the Junker Queen with the Tracer instead of the Sojourn. O2 just basically wait for overtime, then they drop him to the point, they run out whoever's on point. Viper gets kills on the supports, and Panthera are held at the top of the hill. O2 on their offense have 1 minute and 7 seconds to do it. This time, Panthera is also on the Junker Queen comp, and this time O2 does not run the Tracer. So Viper just basically pushes the cart, O2 walk up the high ground, Panthera end up holding in the server room, and O2 end up forcing shout. Viper kills 2, I believe he kills Lego and then Vulture, and then O2 just kind of win. So Thompson player of the match is going to be He's Saying. After that first Oasis round, just kind of woke up, got back in the groove, dipped Hidden pretty much the entire time. I could have went to Viper again, to be honest, but I feel like Spectra maybe even did more on the other side sometimes. But for sure, big dip from He's Saying on over Hidden, like no doubt. His Tracer play was very good too, so like to see hitscan players that can play Tracer very well, which I guess is normal in Korea for sure. But no questions there about his ability. And overall, O2, I felt like they had better team play and also very solid carry potential throughout this match. Panthera more was just like the Spectra show. If he wasn't able to get the kills, he wasn't able to be the one to win. They weren't going to. And they had some very questionable compositions. I don't know why you would play Sigma on Kings Row first offense and not even bother, not play him on the defense. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I do like the ball that they played on the ball / Winston they played on Gibraltar, but just felt a little kind of slow on it sometimes and not fully understanding that the Junker Queen comp can just run at you and kill you for free almost every time. But yeah, very good to see that O2 made that adjustment that lost them Kings Row and ends up winning them Kings Row by making that adjustment very quickly, which is very nice to see. I don't know if you want to put that on coaching, you want to put that on players, however you want to do it. Very quick adjustment from match to match on the same day. And they end up winning this kind of decisively. Like it's relatively close, but it was quite decisive, I think, at the same time. But yeah. So that's going to be it for my first Contenders review. Share this around. Comment down below your thoughts. Let me know if you liked it, if I should keep doing them. But yeah, subscribe for more daily Overwatch League content. And thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one. Peace.